Hello everybody, my name's Jim Gordon. I'm a GP at Imrie Street Surgery in South Tyneside. Now I've been asked to talk a little bit about primary care in this time of COVID. So I'm sure you'll all be registered with a GP, and most people are, and you'll know that GPs are here to treat most of the illnesses and problems you might experience with your health. And it's important to emphasise that that includes physical health and mental health. Sometimes you might have a problem where you're not really sure what it is or whether it's much of a problem, and we can sometimes help talk you through that and decide whether or not you need any further advice or treatment either from ourselves or from other agencies. So I would encourage you to use your GP. Sometimes it seems a bit daunting, particularly if you're not used to using GP services, but we're here, we're helpful, we're friendly, and we're ready to talk to you. So how do you make an appointment to see your GP? Well, you can just ring up your GP practice. Sometimes it can take a little while to get through on the telephone because it's very busy. Another good way of making an appointment with the GP is by registering for online access. I think every GP in South Tyneside now offers online access. You register with the practice and then you can make your own appointment online, and that's often a lot easier. So there have been some changes with general practice over the course of this COVID pandemic, and you'll realise that most appointments now are done via the telephone or via video consultation, a little bit like this. We can still see you if we need to, so don't worry too much about that. We can bring you in, and if you need to be examined, your chest needs listening to, or you need to talk to someone face to face, we can do that. But most of the time, we will speak to you on the telephone in the first instance, and we'll try and deal with the problem over the telephone where we can. But I do want people to realise that we haven't stopped seeing people face to face. That possibility is still there, and we'll discuss that with you and make that decision jointly when we speak to you on the telephone in the first instance. The other thing that you'll notice if you do come into the surgery is that we'll all be in personal protective equipment or PPE. So you'll see us in masks and in gloves and aprons and often visors or eye protection as well. Again, this can be a bit disconcerting, and it does get in the way somewhat of a normal interaction, the kind of interaction we're used to. But it's important that we protect ourselves, but also you, given that we're people that are seeing sick people frequently through the day. We wouldn't want to increase the risk of you contracting an illness by coming into the surgery. We've done some other things as well to try and keep people as safe as possible when they come to the surgery, and that split the people up who might have signs of COVID type illnesses and people with other illnesses. So you'll find that waiting rooms are much quieter. You'll find you often come in for your appointment time and get seen quickly rather than having to wait in a busy waiting room for a long time. We try and bring you down at a very specific time. So those are the main changes you'll notice during the COVID period in primary care, and almost every practice is operating in the same way. Just going to check my questions here. What are my 3 top tips for good health and well-being? Well, I think obviously most of us will be following the guidance, and we should all follow the government guidance that's been provided in order to keep ourselves as safe as possible from COVID. But the other thing, and I think one of the most important things, is how do we keep ourselves mentally healthy when our normal social lives and our normal interactions with our friends and family have been so disrupted. I'd encourage you to maintain contact as much as you possibly can and be creative about that. So do your Zoom calls, do your telephone calls, try and keep in contact with friends and family. Really important that we keep those contacts going because we get so much support from each other and from our relationships. The other thing I'd suggest is that you exercise, you get outside, and much more difficult now than it was in the first part of the pandemic because the weather's changed, but get out, breathe the fresh air, walk along the coast. We're very lucky in South Tyneside to live where we do, and really get outside, notice things. Try not to spend all your time indoors because it really does help with your mental health. And finally, I'd say general healthy living is important. There's a temptation to, perhaps eat a little bit more, eat unhealthy foods, maybe drink alcohol, when our social lives are limited and we can't do what we used to be able to do. but that can have an impact on your mental well-being as well. So try and live as healthy a life as possible, and diet, exercise, get out, see the world, breathe the fresh air, and remember to continue every way you can making contact and connecting with your friends and your family. Okay, thanks.